The idea that the reality we live in might be a simulation is one of the most thought-provoking hypotheses of our time. Seemingly drawn from science fiction, this theory has been seriously considered by physicists, philosophers, and spiritual thinkers, raising fundamental questions about the nature of existence. Are we living in a real universe or an artificial framework designed for a specific purpose? Philosopher Nick Bostrom from Oxford University presented an academic version of this idea in his famous paper, Simulation Argument. According to him, it is very likely that a sufficiently advanced civilization would develop conscious simulations of its evolutionary past. If such simulations are possible, then the chances are high that we are already living in one. Quantum physics indirectly supports this possibility through particle behaviors that seem to react only when observed, suggesting a code-based. Another complementary idea is the holographic universe theory. Physicists such as David Bohm and Michael Talbot argued that the entire universe might be a projection derived from a deeper plane of reality. Holograms contain the whole within each part, and this property is reflected in DNA structures, galaxy patterns, and even the human brain. From this perspective, what we perceive is merely an orderly appearance, behind which lies an invisible matrix that governs everything. Ancient Gnosticism supported the notion that the material world is an imperfect creation, generated by an entity known as the demiurge. This world is seen as an illusory prison from which the human soul must escape to return to the divine source. In Gnostic texts, reality is depicted as a manipulation system, a cosmic simulation of true existence. Indian traditions such as Vedanta describe Maya as the cosmic illusion, a veil concealing ultimate truth from the senses and mind. An argument in favor of the simulation theory is the accelerated evolution of technology. If we can create increasingly sophisticated virtual worlds, it is logical to assume that a superior civilization has already done so. Furthermore, the constant emergence of physical laws as mathematical equations suggests an underlying code. On the other hand, a major challenge is the nature of consciousness. It is difficult to explain how authentic consciousness could emerge from an artificial system. Additionally, there is no direct evidence for the simulation hypothesis, and most arguments are based on probabilistic reasoning and technological metaphors. Critics argue that it remains more of a philosophical speculation than a testable scientific theory. If reality is a simulation, the implications are profound. It would mean that what we perceive as free will might be an algorithm, that emotions, decisions, and even death are part of a program. At the same time, it would validate many spiritual teachings, that the material world is just a stage, and the real truth lies beyond appearances. That exiting the simulation does not mean destruction, but awakening, that we can access higher levels of consciousness that transcend the source code and reconnect us. This question opens not only scientific debates, but also deep reflections on our existential responsibility. If we are part of a simulation, this does not diminish the beauty of our experiences. It gives them a new dimension, that of conscious choice. In this framework, knowledge becomes the key to liberation, and meditation, introspection, and compassion are the tools to transcend apparent limits. Regardless of reality's nature, the authenticity of the search remains unchanged. Perhaps the essence lies not in the final answer, but in how we choose to live each moment, each thought, and each connection. Peace in the heart and clarity in the mind.